I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious.
37 and 37. Got Noor Altoma in the house. Sister-in-law.
Yes, sister-in-law.
Bring you on because you are a new person within my life within the last 3 or 4 years. You've helped, obviously, really just be such like a partner in crime to my wife.
Mm-hmm.
So I've understood like your life history kind of vicariously through her.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of those lessons are even built within like the construct of the person that I love. So I'm like, okay, like I just take a lot away from that. And then also I think that during the time that I came into Elof's life, you went through incredible amounts of transition.
Oh yeah.
And I was able to be like a part of different parts of those transitions, but not necessarily dealing with much of the emotion, obviously, of it, but seeing it from like pretty darn close.
Yeah, right.
You know, I'm like this odd new guy.
Yeah.
Like in the corner, sometimes driving the car.
I do remember that.
Doing these different movements.
Yeah.
And so from that not so far away standpoint, I think that you've very gracefully dealt with a lot of transition in a very short period of time.
Oh yeah.
And I think that you're really there's a light at the end of the tunnel that you're almost already in, like that light in a lot of different ways. And I think it's cool to see you being willing to make life's pivots that are such instrumental pivots, and be willing to kind of do it even multiple times within a small period of time.
Yeah.
And it can be scary because I'm sure there's different moments where you go, oh, I feel like I didn't even pivot quick enough. But then again, it's like, that's what it could have, should have, only like 6 months.
Yeah.
And a lot of people in life, they stick with things for generations, 10 years, and just don't even, for decades, and just don't even really find it within themselves to do it. So whether it was personal transitions or career transitions, it's cool to see how you've done that.
Yeah.
How do I start?
Like, where do I start?
Where we are in this. I think one thing that I'm really interested in initially is like where you are right now in real estate. This is something that for me, it felt like it kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Where you're like, hey, like I'm really interested in this real estate thing. I think I'm going to start to take some classes and get my real estate license. You obviously had people close to you that you were able to kind of like be in that world and kind of see its value. But to be able to see that within yourself so quickly, and then being willing to kind of, you've built a brand within your own Instagram. Being willing to be like vulnerable early is what a lot of people don't do. Like, you're around a lot of people that I would say are much more successful in a career sense right now, but they should be because they've been in it longer, but they're still scared to take the step of putting themselves out there.
Yeah.
Why did you feel so comfortable like letting people into like your journey into the space?
You know, I think because I saw somebody share their journey with me, like it was like somewhere on social media, and it helped me so much because I saw this like person just being very vulnerable, like going through a similar situation that I was going through. And I remember how it empowered me a little bit. Like, you know, it was like, oh my gosh, like I can do this. Like, this woman did it, and she, you know, is a mom, and she has a kid, and you know, she's going through a similar situation. And so from that moment, I remember that feeling, and I've always just wanted to do that for somebody else. So like, it's always been like, I know some people might, you know, not like it. Some people do. I mean, I've had people like unfollow me and all that other stuff.
That's good.
But yeah,
that means you're doing it right. If there's people that go, oh, like, in this next, I can see that you're so committed to this next period of time, and I'm not feeling committed to want to see it.
Yeah.
That shows that's a success.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, she's locked in on this. I'm not willing.
Yeah.
Like, perfect. Because you're committed. So then they got to go.
Yeah. And that's on them. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't, in the beginning, it would like bother me because I'm like, oh, am I like posting too much? Am I like, am I sharing too much personal information? Is it making somebody uncomfortable? But the amount of messages that I would get that were positive and like, oh, like, thank you so much for sharing this exceeded all of that. And
Mm-hmm.
if one person was like, felt that way, I'm good.
Yeah, it's funny because like I obviously don't have a lot of people that follow me,
Mm-hmm.
and so I can and I'll because like we're in a business now of like tracking stuff. I just have everything on trackers,
Mm-hmm.
to learn how they work, how we can utilize them better. So I put
Mm-hmm.
it on my own stuff too, and it's funny to see like that fluctuation go up and down.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, oh, okay, so those like people are unfollowing, that's okay. But and you're always it's always interesting to me of like I'm not a big unfollow person.
Yeah.
I haven't really gotten to that place.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's healthy for people to unfollow things that don't like value them.
Yeah.
Um, so I get it. It's always
Mm-hmm.
funny to see that I can track posts though of when someone unfollowed,
Mm-hmm.
and it's usually something where I'm like, oh, that's a weird one to
Yeah.
like. It's literally meaningless.
Yeah.
You unfollow me over like a baby photo. I'm like, that's kind of weird,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And what it is, I think, is maybe just people, they're maybe not happy where they're at, and that's why they do things like that. I don't
I
know.
honestly think it's usually someone who is distanced enough
Mm-hmm.
where they're like, oh, I don't give a fuck about LJ anymore.
Yeah.
And I want like my
Oh,
thing to
okay.
be like much more valuable to me.
Yeah.
And this person, like, we don't talk enough.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess, why would you really?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense why they would follow me.
Yeah.
Because maybe they just want to follow their friends and family
Yeah.
and some dog posts.
Yeah, maybe. I also feel like people evolve and like, I don't know, like, I'm sure there's like, I actually made a TikTok about it
Okay. Oh, you
today.
did?
I did. I was like, let me get on TikTok. I was like, let me make some TikToks on this.
First and last TikTok.
Yeah, no, actually, I've made a few more.
Yeah, I'm just saying TikTok's gone.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It's probably not gone, but anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I was like, something told me to just post on there, so I was like, I will. And it was just about like the dating scene and how
Yeah.
it's, I don't know, it just, sorry, I totally lost my train of thought.
Well, we were talking about like the follows, unfollows
Yeah.
in this type of circumstances.
Yeah. So like people will just unfollow you like when they don't like agree with something that you post or
Yeah.
something that you did just kind of irked them or maybe made them feel a little bit uncomfortable. Oh, but I was thinking about evolving. Sorry, the thought just came back to me. Like, like there's guys that I know that follow a lot of very scandalous like pages of,
Oh, for sure.
it's normal.
And they do, oddly enough, as a guy, they do get sold to you.
Oh.
Like, as much as I can take my For You page,
Yeah.
and it's so many Vikings things, it's weird, like cars, it's a lot of comedy.
Yeah.
You will still, every once in a while, be like, hey, we're going to start selling you, like, this random chick. And I'm like,
What?
that's weird. And it's
Oh.
odd because I think that they track your eyes enough because like even as like a married man, if you put like a random girl in a swimsuit,
Yeah.
my eyes will see it.
Yeah, of course.
And then I'll be like, okay, well, I'm not gonna like be the guy who like clicks on it.
Yeah.
And I'm certainly not gonna be the guy that likes it.
Yeah.
So I understand why those guys get tracked.
Oh.
But like I'll just be swiping up and be like, oh, interesting girl in a swimsuit.
Yeah.
And I'll maybe like honestly, I'm the type of person where I'll like click on it and be like, maybe I should buy that for Elof.
Yeah.
If I like something, I'll be like, oh, I'll go find it. And that's rewarded me a lot because she'd be like, how'd you find this?
Yeah,
like,
that's true. It's so funny.
Like Revolve has like
yeah,
like saved like our relationship in multiple
she's so
ways.
funny because I'll be like, oh my gosh, like that's a really cute outfit. Like, where'd you get it from? And she's like, LJ got it for me.
Yeah.
And
Like
I'm
I'll
just
see it on like a site and I'll be like,
yeah.
oh, that works. That works.
It's so funny. I'm like, where did he like? And now, oh my god, it's all making sense because
Yeah.
that's
Well,
probably
guys
what
should
it's
be
like
smart, like in relationships. If you see like something that's appealing to you, whether it's on like another female, stop looking at that other female and going, ooh, well, I want that girl. Be like, ooh, like I maybe want to see my wife in that thing that she's wearing.
Yeah.
Like that sounds fun.
Yeah. No, that's true.
And then it's fun. It's like a good thing because then your wife goes, oh my god, like what a discovery. I'm like, yeah, it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But Yeah, it's weird how that does get sold. I don't know if that works
It,
with females at all.
I
I mean, you're
do.
in the dating world, so you're clicking and liking and,
No,
subscribing, but
no, we are not doing that. Absolutely not. We are not subscribing to
okay,
any of that.
okay.
But I do get like random ads of like, like guys' profiles, and
Mm-hmm.
it could sometimes be related to real estate, and sometimes it's not. It's just like, I'll click on it because I'm like, oh, is this related to real estate? And it's just some guy who decided to like sponsor his or boost his
Oh, yeah.
page, and it was like nothing. There was no, he wasn't trying to sell you anything. He wasn't trying to get you to go somewhere.
Oh, he's just boosting like a random like
It's just him.
selfie pic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wrong post to boost.
Yeah.
If you're in the business, because then you're just trying to
No,
boost.
but he's not in the business. That's the thing.
Oh.
It's like, I'll just click on it because I'm like, oh, is this real estate?
Oh, okay.
Whatever. And then it's like, no, it's just some guy who just wanted to boost his social media profile. And
That's LA.
yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's been popping up more now, and I'm like, it's like the same people. I'm like, you are boosting your profile like several times. Like,
Is it a red flag for you when guys just take pictures of themselves? That's weird to me. Like,
yeah.
as a guy, I always think,
Yeah.
I'm like, when for example, there will be like times where
Yeah.
when I was doing like a little bit more comedy, or like I'll need like a profile picture, like we're doing our website, right?
Mhm.
And I'll go, oh my God, I don't have any photos of myself.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like me, like not taking enough
No,
photos or something.
I think that's normal.
I think that's normal, but like in
I
LA, like there's a lot. You go down people's feed, and you're like, oh, that's like it's cool. It's personal branding, but
No, it's great depending on obviously like what you're trying to do, what your intention
yeah,
is. But I think there are a lot of people that do that way too much. That
it's interesting.
Yeah. Don't do it.
But
Like,
so
don't do
the
it.
transition of thought of like now starting to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
I do think it's important that within like the conversation of your career of how do you balance like the sacrifice of what you want for your career and the sacrifice that you know that you have to make for your family,
Mhm.
with like your daughter, with all of that. Like, what's that emotion like to try to bridge it? Because it's got to be a
hard.
lot.
It is. It's definitely a lot. It's definitely a lot. And I think what it is I always like push something to like a limit, and then I try to balance it with the other, like parts of my life. And then other times I'll give those areas more time and then minimize like the work. So in the end, it equals out.
But you haven't found that perfect balance
But I
yet.
have not found that perfect balance. It's really challenging because, again, it's a demanding field, and it's
Yeah.
a demanding field or an industry because I care about it. It's something I'm enjoying.
Mhm.
So I don't mind working the weekends and door knocking in the evenings, or making phone call, like whatever it takes.
Is door knocking real?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So you just like park and knock?
Oh yeah, you like park your car and you have like flyers, and usually it's like in an area that, you have a listing coming up soon, or, your farm area. So area that you just visit frequently, like 4 times a year, and, it
Interesting.
works.
That would make sense if you like, okay, I'm selling this house at the corner of the street.
Mm-hmm.
Door knock, give everybody a flyer.
Yeah,
Like, hey, this is what I'm putting the house on the market for.
exactly.
I don't know if you know like what the current value of your home would be.
Mhm.
I'd love to talk to you about it if you're interested in selling ever.
Well, and the other thing with that is now that you're walking the neighborhood, not a lot of agents do that. So when these people are going to consider selling their home and putting it on the market, they're going to be like, well, this team door knocked the entire area to sell a home, so I want to hire them to sell my home.
Mm-hmm.
So you're building relationships with people, and some people will slam the door in your face, and some will open, and you're talking to them for 15 minutes.
Yeah, about nothing.
No, it's important.
It's all so valuable, I'm sure.
I love it because they tell me about how long they've lived in the area, what they've done to their home. The lady I was at the other day, she was like, oh, so and so, they've done this, and she knew everything.
Real
So
estate is good gossip talk.
it
Because like the
can be.
gossip's supposed to be valuable.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they redid their kitchen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Or like
we
open
want to
houses.
know about that.
Yeah, open houses.
Oh, they
like
fucked up their pool.
all
Cool.
all the neighbors come for the open house, and they're like, we're just neighbors. Like, we just want to see,
Yeah. Oh, I'm for sure that person.
Yeah.
I mean, we love doing like Saturday
I was
morning,
gonna
like,
say, you
open
guys
house.
do that already.
100%. Yeah.
Like, my sister will call me. She's like, we just saw the nicest house. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're like, I need to be there with you.
They're even did an open house for a rental over here, which I had
Yeah.
never really heard of that, to be
Yeah.
honest. And we missed it. I was
Yeah.
actually a little bummed.
Yeah.
I heard it sucked.
Yeah.
But those are my favorite.
Yeah.
I love like being able to walk through places and like being super judgmental. I
Uh-huh.
love being judgmental over a house because I think I'm as judgmental towards everything in life, but it just doesn't feels like you can be judgmental at this
Yeah.
material
Oh, yeah.
and not feel bad. Like you
Yeah.
can talk all the shit.
Well, and think about, like, there was like a cute little cottage style like house here on the street, and it was like a 2-bedroom, and it was original everything. And I mean, the guy had, and it was like walking through a museum. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is kind of cool. Like, this is original, like, wood floors. So
How do you find yourself trying to catch up in a lot of the spaces that you're in are so affluent and I feel like these people that are buying and selling their homes have probably like almost lived in those cultures like for so long. They know about these different marbles and these different floor plans, the different woods. And how do you try to catch up to the curve of walking into a spot where it's like a little fish out of water, but at the same time, people are going to love that you're new as much as you might think that might be a negative thing.
yeah.
People love a fresh set of eyes. They
Yeah.
love new energy.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, the relationship they have with you of just your likability is going to be like 50%.
Mm-hmm.
If they see like hustle, enough skill and care,
Mm-hmm.
that's the business.
Yeah, 100%.
So how do you try to catch up on the curve?
You know, it was really hard in the beginning because I didn't know anything. And I remember my broker, he was like, hey, can you like do the showing for my client? Because he was out of town. And I was like, okay. And, you know, I go to this house, and I mean, I'm at the gate, and it's like, give me your ID, give me your this, give me your DNA strand, here's
Right.
a thumbprint, retina. Like, I was like, where am I going? Like, what am I walking into? And this is like early on.
It's a whole new world.
It's a whole new world. And I remember I was just like, oh my gosh, like, this is here. Like, this is crazy. And the client was, you know, she's had multiple homes, and she was using terminology that I had no idea.
Sure.
And she was like, la France, la soie. And I was like, what is that? And I was like, yeah, like, I love that. I would comment on things that I knew.
Yeah.
But I remember
You just got to sponge it up.
Yeah.
Try to key the word while she's saying it and say, I'll go Google it later.
Yeah.
To,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
learn the differences and stuff.
Exactly. I remember like pulling up on YouTube, like, all of the different, like, you know, finishes and terminology and words that they use, because I was like, well, I need to learn it.
Yeah. I do see trends. I watch this guy Ennis.
Yeah.
And then there's a Y with a long last name.
That's the guy that does all the tours and stuff.
He does like the dopest houses in Beverly
yeah.
Hills, Calabasas, Newport Coast.
I am like the biggest fan of that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've watched him enough now where you will see like these normal, like,
Yeah.
trendy styles, whether it's in a kitchen or a bathroom, where he's like, oh, we've seen this water spout before. So it's all obtainable.
Yeah.
Because everything kind of goes in trends and eras.
Yeah.
But yeah, but then you do have people that are like walking through, like when you get into the homes that are like 10,000 square feet and plus, there's just so much knowledge to be able to understand of like trying to sell, like, well, what type of tires and seats and how fast does this car go as far as like a house? It's like, there's a lot of things to absorb.
But you learn it as you go.
Yeah.
So like the more, you know, property tours that you do, the more, you know, clients that you meet, the more homes, the open houses that you do, like the more of those that you do, the more you get to build your vocabulary and like understand what different things are.
Yeah. Have you found, because I know that you've really done a good job of like shopping for an appropriate broker for you.
Yeah.
You found that different brokers share knowledge better than others?
Yeah.
I would imagine some are just a cubicle and say, hey, like, go hustle for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, each one is going to have its own style. It's going to have its own culture. It's going to have its own like teaching approach. They're all so unique, so unique.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would be hard to figure that out for
And
a
that's
second.
yeah, and that's the thing is like when you're first starting, like you don't know what to look for. Like you have no idea.
Yeah.
And that's like for me, I remember creating like a list of questions and like we give it to students like, hey, ask these questions when you go interview a brokerage so you are, you're aware and you know what they have to offer. Because as a new agent, you're not going to go up to them and be like, hey, do you guys cover A&O insurance? Is it, per transaction or per, you
have no idea.
You have no
Why
idea.
would you? You're not supposed to.
Why would you?
Yeah.
And so then these brokerages are like, yeah, come on, we'll teach you this and that. And we'll do all of this. And this is like, our fee. And then, some of them deliver, some of them don't.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to know what your learning style is as an agent. Like, what do you need? What kind of learner are you? And then to go out there and find the brokerage that is going to be that fit.
Yeah. Do you find yourself already really desiring to be within a specific niche in the industry? Whether it's like, I guess I don't know. I would imagine there's so many niches, even when I think of it, you're in residential real estate.
Mm-hmm.
But when I say that term to you, you're thinking, well, there's all these categories.
There are, and I think I'm in the process of like figuring it out,
mm-hmm.
and I'm trying different things. But an area that I think is very like fulfilling for me, and that I enjoy all of it, but working with like educators, educators who are, at the community college, at the, elementary. I'm not there at the elementary. Actually, I would say, to be super specific,
mm-hmm.
educators at the community college.
Okay.
Yeah. That is a group that I feel I want to just provide them with more education and, different strategies into getting into real estate, so they can build their wealth.
Got it. So kids at the community college that are getting into it, you're saying?
No.
Or actually educators?
Educators like people who are like counselors or, deans or.
Got it. Oh, so then they can invest in real estate?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then, obviously teaching at the college is also important because now you're helping students that want to be agents really understand what it takes to be in this industry and how to go and find the right like brokerage and, thrive essentially.
Mm-hmm. What has it been like transitioning from having to really do real estate more on a part-time basis
Mm-hmm.
to now allowing like, even whether you're doing multiple jobs, they're all like obtaining more within real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think real estate can be part-time?
No.
Impossible.
It's
because a lot of people try to do that.
It's really hard.
I can't imagine how many people have real estate licenses and it's part-time.
Yeah, it is really, really, really hard. And I've had to, cut my hours at the school.
Yeah.
I've had to make some changes. But I was like, I want to take that chance.
Yeah, I mean, you have to go through the bridge period.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, I don't think it's the type of thing that you should fire yourself from everything and immediately jump into, because your reward just isn't going to come that quick.
Exactly.
Like, these are like big, large transactions that take
time,
months, years to sometimes generate.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure you're going to meet someone or already have people in your spectrum that you've already met, but they might not ask you to buy or sell something for them for like 3 more years.
Oh, yeah. And in real estate, it's like just talk to more people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I love like social media, because I have such a larger reach on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
did you think that having these conversations online just to yourself on your phone and sharing them with people would have generated so much for you already? Because even all the people that follow you, like, that would be the first thing they bring up, right? Like, hello, Instafam.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they do.
Yeah, which is good because that's branding.
Yeah.
It's like building people into it. Like,
mm-hmm.
in the first time that you take a real estate class, I had my real estate license when I was I don't know, 18 or something like that. And I got my brokerage license with my college diploma because it was like a real estate diploma. And I just remember them always being like, start telling your family and friends that you actually do real estate.
Yeah.
Because so many people were kind of scared to like even do the initial post of,
Oh.
hey, just, I'm in real estate.
Absolutely. And I think that was like what helped me also like get my clients early on, is because even before I got my real estate license, I was documenting on social media, studying for the real estate exam, being around real estate. Like I was showing people that I am so committed to this. I'm studying and it's 11 p.m. Like I want to make this work. And people saw that early on. And so like it made it a little bit easier for them to want to use me, because they're like, okay, she's hustling out there.
Right. They trust it more.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is always the thing, I guess, of your first few clients. They're like, are you really doing this?
Yeah.
And then if it's like your first client, you're not it's kind of weird to like say like, hey, this is the first time I've ever sold anything. Right?
Dude,
but
seriously?
but they don't even want to know that really in a weird way, or they do because they want to support you.
They want to support you, but then there's also that fear, because it's like, well, like you're new and this is like the largest transaction of my entire life. Like I'm taking a pretty big risk.
Right.
And that's where you have to partner with a mentor that is going to guide you through it. And I was really grateful. I had an amazing mentor at one of the first brokerages I was at. And hi, Sammer. and he was just very like educational, informed everything.
So you sell them on your mentor.
Yeah. And so
say like, hey, like they're walking me through this.
Yeah. So it was like me and him talking to the client.
Yeah.
So it makes them feel more comfortable, because they're like, I know you're new. I trust you though. And you have the experience of this, broker that's been in the business for 20 years,
What, being new and fresh to these things, and sometimes within the industry that you're in, you could feel like unwanted, like the space doesn't want you, whether you're too young, and all these things. I usually have found that those perceptions end up to be a huge lie, because people want young, they want new, they want that exciting space. Not everybody, but like real estate does seem like one of those things where like people are willing to try something new with the hot new come up. You see it all the time on Selling Sunset. They literally, it's a little bit more of a TV show than actually, it's like definitely a real estate company, a great one.
Yeah.
But they do cast.
Yeah.
So it gets kind of odd, because you do have people that like have never sold anything, and it's their first house. This is like a $60 million house.
Yeah.
But at the same time, buyers are almost as odd as that show, where like sometimes they're just like, I just like this person.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel like there was a time where you're like, well, I like these, like a bigger house with these things, like they don't want me, and now you're maybe transitioning to more of a mindset of like, I got this. Yeah.
Oh, there's a definite mindset shift, because I started doing a lot of like internal work. And I think when you start to like do like the affirmations, when you start to actually love yourself, you allow other people to see you how you see yourself. And so when you're in those spaces, you're very confident. You're very, you're just like ready for it. Like, I deserve to be here.
Yeah, they reward you really quickly.
Yeah.
Where you think like, I mean, most people in the US, I feel like, always feel as if it's like everything's just old and white. You're like, well, if I'm not old and white, then they don't want me. And most of the time, I feel like you get on those spaces and they're like, shit, you're not old and white. Get the fuck in here. We need more. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And I think it's just the energy that you bring to a space, because there are newer agents who just aren't as excited, aren't as eager, aren't as passionate, or maybe they're still learning, and you can sense that energy. And that's why like real estate is such a like mindset like industry. Like you have to believe that you belong in those spaces. Yeah, big time.
What I think one of the most special parts about this conversation for me is that I do look at a lot of this stuff as like a time vault. I look at a lot of my life as I want to be graded in 10 years, not in 6 months. So if for some reason you're watching afar, which that would be great right now, but that's kind of crazy still. But if you have any level of criticism of like, well, I don't really like this doesn't really work, this is not going to happen. Well, that's fine. You should probably think that right now, but in 10 years, that's when I actually want my grade. What do you hope for yourself in 10 years? Because as close as you are to what I would call more of the starting line than the finish line.
Oh, yeah.
And the starting line still, I would think, isn't actually necessarily a complete given yet.
Yeah.
What do you hope for yourself that like you would tell yourself now, if within 10 years from now, what would you hope you could recommit to yourself today?
What do you mean by like recommit?
Because what am I trying to say? You know how if we look at life in like decades, sometimes like if I was looking at myself in 10 years and now I'm like back on this couch, I would be like, LJ, you've actually built this great thing. The thing that was in your heart was actually destined.
Yeah.
It was gonna work. The 25 people that you have in your head that you've helped helped get their voices to be as impactful as possible is starting to happen. Purple Banter is like a true version of yourself, and the truest version of it is that it's actually like 100 other people's thoughts, visions of their truest clarity.
Yeah.
And I try to look at things a little bit in that perspective sometimes, especially when I'm like, I still feel like I haven't crossed the bridge. And so I guess it's a little bit of like, what do you hope for yourself in 10 years within this industry? Like, how do you envision yourself impacting it? Even if it's just like, hey, I'm like one of the dopest brokers on Newport Coast.
Yeah.
You know, I have a different version of what I think a team looks like.
Yeah.
How Orange County is even perceived. There's a lot of work that I think that you could do to like really break down walls and change perception and create new identity, like all these different things.
I think for me, it goes back to like just education. I feel like in my heart, I feel like there are there are students that want to become agents and maybe don't have like the proper support, or, you know, maybe they don't come from a family that's in real estate, and to just at least educate them on what it's going to take and that it is possible, and, you know, give them that like glimmer of hope, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But also to, you know, educate educators and inform them of all the investment options that they have and help them become, you know, rich in real estate.
Yeah. I hope that in 10 years within real estate, a person that is not even my age, I'm going to be 37, but I hope a 30-year-old can believe in the dream of a house again.
Yeah.
You know, by the time you're 28, you really see how money works and the money that you're making and the dreams that you hope for. You go, oh shit, I don't know if I'll ever be able to own a home. And that wasn't the reality of people that grew up in the 80s, like, or were, you know, my age in the 80s, or my father, you know, that was just the American dream.
Yeah.
And I would say that 95% of my friends that are 30 and up that live in big cities say, I don't really know if like a house is in my deck of cards.
Yeah.
I might rent for life. You see the media really push that narrative. Like, hey guys, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But just even through our conversations that we've had, you have been able to explain like, no, it's available actually. You know, there is still like ways to get in. It's more approachable than you think.
Yeah.
Everything's too expensive, but that doesn't mean that you can't start.
Absolutely. And I think like a lot of people, they shy away from it because they feel like it's impossible.
It's very overwhelming.
Yes, it is. It's very overwhelming. And for me, like mindset plays a huge role in like when I speak to my clients, when I do my buyer consultation, because it starts with really believing that you deserve a home. It's all in your head. And what happens is when you start to believe that, hey, this is something that is possible, like, you know, financially, obviously, like you'll meet with the lender, they'll go over like, hey, you need to stay for a year. But when you first believe that it's achievable, you will start to work towards it. And that's just how it happens. Because what happens is we talk, I crush all these, myths and, all the questions, that answer all your questions. And then you're going to see a house. And then when you go see a house and you start to like envision having a family there, gatherings, like all these things, you just keep getting closer to that vision.
Yeah. It's so funny because as a guy, although we're still renting, this is the only home that I've lived in since living with my parents.
Yeah.
And not in the context of it even, it's like, we have a little bit more space and stuff, but because now that I have a child, I think that I'm like, I have to treat this place like a home.
Yeah.
And while like myself and Elof were a young couple and engaged and like married, we were playing house.
Yeah.
She taught me how to like practice home.
Yeah.
She was like, hey, LJ, we have a lot to work on here and like get it up. But there's something in the male mentality for me with it in mind was like, just home is where the heart is.
Yeah.
And home is what you make of it. But I do think on an economic standpoint, like you're not going to care as much about your community until you have ownership in it.
Yes.
Like truly ownership in like a real estate place.
Absolutely.
That you're putting money in. So when we look at our larger cities going to shit, it really comes down to home ownership because that's the way that you're going to want to know your neighbors. You're going to care about the crime in your neighborhood.
You're going to go to the city council meetings.
Yeah. Because when you're renting, it's like, I'll just move out before it goes to shit.
Yeah.
And so I do think a lot of these big cities, if they want to fix this problem, have to fix home ownership problem. And I think a lot of it would immediately get cleaned up.
I 100% agree. It's just like when there's an HOA in a community, like they typically, have meetings and the owners would go and they would have
clean.
a say. They're making they're voting on certain.
And people are passionate. They're like, hey, I'm spending, I would imagine a few are like thousands a month.
Yeah.
But like 500 minimum.
Yeah.
Like,
you'll have some that are like 100. But
okay.
Yeah.
But you're going to care.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, I put $100 into this thing, which is technically a tax. But just a very small consolidated tax. Saying like this money goes here to support this. You're like, well, that means it's like we better have new sidewalks. Everything better look green. The grass better be cut.
The gate better work.
Our taxes technically should be the exact same feeling. We just don't feel like we have as much connection to them.
Yeah. It feels a little bit further away. Yeah. But it does. It helps people feel connected to their community. And if you're in a place, you want it to be better all around and you want your neighbor's home to be sold for more because that affects the price of your home.
Yeah. That's where sometimes real estate gets a bad rap to me, where people think it's just this greedy, narcissistic, just completely like profit generating thing. Like, dude, no, this is a peace generating economic system that's like built foundationally.
Yeah.
It is so incredibly valuable.
Very, very, very valuable. And that's why like I enjoy it so much is because I didn't know much about it before. And once I started learning about real estate, I was like, why don't more people know about this? Like, because I didn't really know, like, or I felt like it was super far away. And I don't know. Now I'm just like, okay, I need to like sell this many homes, like to, get my place. Like there's a math formula to it.
Yeah. Everybody you have to start building the strategy in your head, even if you're just like doing the vision board walk on a Saturday morning, be like, do we like this type of house? Do we like this type of one? Because that I think it changes your work ethic on a Monday morning.
Oh, for
Because
sure.
you're like, oh, I don't like that type of house. And right now, that's the only type of one that could maybe even be possible in 5 years. That's very scary.
Yeah. Or like I have to get something smaller. And it's
Oh,
just
smaller,
like,
shittier,
yeah,
all the things.
all of
Yeah.
them.
Like Cece would be looking at me like, Dad,
Yeah.
dude,
Why'd
what
you
were
bring
you
me here?
doing?
Yeah.
Like, what were you
Yeah.
doing? Like, while I was in the
Uh-huh.
crib? Like, are you just doing nothing?
Yeah. That's true.
Scary.
It is, but like
Her 10-year-old voice is like what I pretty much work by now.
her
Just,
10-year-old voice.
yeah, like her like being 10 years old and be like,
Yeah.
this is the shit we have.
Yeah. I can I
I
can
hope
totally
she's like, dude, this is sick. I'm
I
like,
know.
yeah, I was doing it.
She's
It's like,
she's
Dad,
like,
that's why the girls hate you at school. Because
yeah.
Dad pulled it off.
No, she won't. Yeah, actually,
She won't be a mean girl.
She won't. No, she won't be a mean girl, but she will be a sassy girl for sure.
Mhm.
110%.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that right now. I can already see it.
Mm-hmm.
I could see it because you like put her in one way, like when I was like FaceTiming you guys, and she has a different plan. Like she's like, I know you want me to go this way, but I don't really care. I'm going this way.
Yeah. Well,
like,
she's eating her diaper trash bags this morning.
Yeah.
And I did get a lot of messages of saying that's very dangerous.
It is, yeah.
So she's not going to do that anymore. I've heard y'all. Like,
Yeah.
it was wrong.
I wanted to say something, but I was like, I don't want to be like that sister-in-law.
I get pounded. I know I got pounded.
But like
by like multiple people.
Yeah.
Like, I had 2 calls.
But I trusted you to like know, like, okay, I'm gonna take it out of her hand, but
I mean, I was sitting there right.
Yeah, you were right there.
Again, I did try to tell one person, I'm like, I'm sitting right here, and it doesn't matter. She died in an instant.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, now I understand.
Because if they like, inhale it or something,
Yeah, because it creates a little balloon, and then it can't come out. I get it.
Exactly. But yeah, she was just like doing her own thing.
Gnawing on the plastic.
Like you guys built the little Toy Town area, and typically like they'll want to hang out there for like a couple weeks or so until they get sick of it. But she's like, nope, day 2, we're out of here.
Yeah, she always like any video that I have of her out of it, she started in it.
Yeah, no, I know.
And then like I'll start like getting her bottle ready or something, and that's usually when I turn around, she's eating plastic.
Yeah.
So that's all up high now.
Yeah.
But,
no, you guys definitely are gonna have to start like baby proofing the house because she's moving quick.
mm-hmm.
Like she's fast. Like she's like.
So what made you bridge into like diving so deep into real estate and understanding like its economic possibilities? Was it your own personal belief in yourself? Was it trying to offer a better version of the future for your daughter?
Mm-hmm.
Like what was the breaking point that you're like, I have to make a shift and right now in order for the next 10 years to be better?
Well, at the time, I remember I was working in education and I was working full time, and I went through a divorce, and so it was just like, okay, now you're a single parent on an educator salary and you're living in Orange County. Just don't work. The math just doesn't add up. It just doesn't make sense. And so you either have to change like your lifestyle and like move out to an area that's maybe a little bit more affordable, or cut certain things. And I don't know, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to just take this challenge and like, let me find something I'm like interested in.
What do you think helped you not fall apart in that moment? Because that could be pretty like crippling.
It was my daughter for sure.
Okay.
She's been like the inspiration for everything. Even like leaving a relationship, I always questioned like, what would I want my daughter to do? And how would I advise my daughter if she was in that situation? And I found my answers immediately.
Got it. So that's like a 1-second answer.
Oh yeah, super 1 second. It was like, how would you feel if your daughter came to you and she was, she's faced with having to get another job or something? Like, what would you tell her? And it was like, go out there and find something you're passionate about and give it your all.
Yeah.
And because that's what I would tell her. And
it just sucks like when you're in those spots, and I'm so happy for you that you're on like the other end of them.
Yeah.
Because it sucks when you're in a spot where you have a 1-second answer, but it's like a 6-month solution.
Yeah.
and it can be exhausting because, you know, I feel like once you get above 30, you keep on asking yourself, like, God, like, let's not have to start over too many times again.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I can maybe start over like one more time,
Yeah.
but let's not start over too many more times.
Yeah.
And to get that energy again,
Yeah.
to like the reboot.
You have to. And honestly, like, believing in God's plan for me is what got me through it each and every single time. And I'm so grateful. Like, that's something that I've been like working on, is like my relationship with God. And anytime I feel doubt, or anytime I feel like something is just, not working out for me, I immediately turn to God and I'm like, you have the best plan for me. Whatever plan it is, like, it's the one that you have written for me. So I trust you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's helped me not worry about the future. It's helped me not think about the past and just really be present in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's like a tweet that's going around right now that trust the plan that God has put on your heart.
Yep.
So a lot of people say, like, trust in themselves. I trusted in myself, but we really get down to it. It's like trusting that little pinch in your heart that God has put on it.
Exactly.
And like, you have to see it through.
Absolutely. And like, looking for the goodness in everything that happens. It's like, I went through a divorce and I thought it was like the worst thing at that moment. And now I'm like, I'm so glad it happened, because I would not be the person I am today if I didn't go through that experience.
Right.
Yeah. And so it's helped me like not, I don't know, like sit with the past, I guess you could say, but lean into those experiences that helped me get here.
Yeah.
Because even like my daughter, it's like
yeah, I mean, she's the reason.
She's the reason for like me leaving, a situation that didn't serve me.
But she was also one of the reasons that relationship even began.
Exactly.
Right, for her to be an outcome of that.
Exactly.
So it's like, you can't hate that relationship.
You can't hate that relationship. It's just, you have to learn from it. So it's the
biggest blessing in your life at the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
100%. So I don't know. I'm like in such a good place in my life right now, where I'm like so at peace, just so happy. I'm excited for the future, but I'm not like, I'm just very present in the moment.
Yeah. Now, one thing I think's really cool about what your family did was in this, and I think it might be like a new version that a lot of people should do, is everybody came together. It was like living separately.
Yeah.
They said, whoa, we could rent a beautiful home together.
Yeah.
And do it the right way. Where everybody has their own space, enough place to feel like comfortable. Like, mom can come and live with everybody. And it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It works so efficiently. It's so well. It's super happy.
Yeah.
It's like, it's everything that people always desire. They always are like, well, one day hope I could get like rich enough that my whole family could live around me. When really what you could do is just pool everybody's funds and rent a place that's out of everyone else's means if they didn't pool them. And I wish more people, like, it probably felt like a sacrifice at the time. But it ends up being like this crazy cool blessing.
It did, because I remember like going to look at places, and I was like looking at apartments in Huntington Beach, and like they were just like not what I wanted. Like, and I was like,
so you came up with this plan?
No, it was my brother, Mo.
Really?
Yeah. He was at my mom's house one day, and he just like, my mom was like, I'm like living here by myself.
Yeah. Like, your mom's looking at this like small little one bedroom, super cute and nice. Yeah. But like alone.
Alone.
And kind of far away from everybody.
Yeah. And then it was like, Adam was like living with like roommates. And then Mo was living with roommates. And then, I was like in a relationship that was like coming to an end.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, why are we all like separate? Why don't we just all, come together? And it was the best decision. And like in that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm used to like being on my own.
Because it could feel potentially like a step back. But
Yeah.
but like, it never felt like that to me.
Yeah.
You know, from afar, I'm like, dude, that sounds like the best case scenario.
And I think it's
And it's
cool.
such a step forward for
Yeah.
everybody.
It's a cool thing because like my siblings are cool. Like
Yeah,
my
that's true.
mom is cool. Like we all
It's
hang
good
out.
energy.
It's so much good energy. We like positively like influence each other. We like, you know, like my brother Mo's like on this health binge. So he's like, you know, no sugar, no this. He's like working out. And I'm like, okay, like I need to get on that too. And then it's like they all go to the gym. So like, you
Mhm.
know, you have to go to the gym too.
Yeah.
And it just speaks to like what your environment is and how it can impact and influence you to make certain decisions in life.
Yeah. I went to Cece's book club for
Yeah.
the first time today. And like one of the songs, I can't sing it. I won't sing it. But it was something to the fact that like, when you're in community, everything is better. All we
Oh.
got to do is we got to come together. And
What?
I sang it.
Wow.
But,
LJ,
like,
I'm very impressed.
but that resonated with me.
Yeah.
Like, what a great thing to remember.
Mhm.
Like, we do need to come together.
Yes.
We need community. That is when things are better.
Yeah.
And we get so caught on this, like, well, for Noor to be a powerful female, she needs to live alone in Huntington Beach at like a shit, like,
Yeah.
you'd never live in a shit place, but like
No.
a place that like
But-
isn't like what you need.
But not even that, like, because when I did live in Huntington Beach, like I was, you know, my mom lived
Oh, you
in
had a cool
Anaheim.
place.
It was a cool
Yeah,
place,
that's
but
sick.
like I would take my daughter to school in Huntington Beach, and then like I would have to like pick her back up, drop her off at my mom's in Anaheim, come back. Like it was just so unnecessary. And then I'm like home at 10, and I like have to make dinner because I'm like I had just got home from like working the 2 jobs and
Yeah.
like picking up my kid. You know?
And like think how like most people are doing that now.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we doing? It's
Yeah.
like doesn't make any sense.
And yeah.
And luckily, like I feel so blessed that like your family's invited me in so warmly,
Of
like with open hearts,
course.
like immediately felt like
Yeah.
a part of the family
Mhm.
right away. It's part of your all just like culture within
Yeah.
your family. You're like, if
Well,
you're
you embraced it too, though. Like you were like very like, what is this? How do you say this? What does this mean? Like you know, you started.
I don't know. I don't mean
speaking-
saying like the Arabic culture. I'm just saying like who you are as a family.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Like your family's culture of just like get in here.
yeah,
You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, I was excited for sure.
yeah.
But like that was part of the like you all created such gravity like
Mhm.
in that space
Mhm.
that then myself and Elof, although we have like such a blessed group of friends in
Mhm.
LA, we're like we can't escape the gravity that's been like created in Orange County.
Yeah,
Like we got to get close to it, especially for
Yeah.
Cece.
yeah,
And that can be pretty scary for me because like I'm just so removed from the gravity of my family in Minnesota, and
yeah.
that can be weird, but it's just so nice to be like, okay, we
Mhm.
have a place that our like daughter can grow up with family.
Oh, yeah.
around. Like it's so vital.
And it helps that like, you know, if you guys have something to do, if you have work, if there's a meeting, if there's like if you have a date night, like
Yeah.
that you have people within like 5 minutes that can like be there to
Well, I
care
love
for
it that like Cece and Zuzu get to see each other all the time.
Yeah.
Like Zuzu will come over here, like
Yeah.
blah blah blah, like, and so we're all just like just kind of
Hanging
passing
out.
these kids around,
I
being like, "Yo, we're still trying to have our careers work out. We still want to have a
I
little bit of
know.
fun, but at the same time,
Yeah.
within that pass around of what is in a weird way very effective for our businesses and for our own like relationship health,
Yeah.
and for your ability to continue to like just be who you want to be. It also is like strengthening in like our children's like development as like just knowing like their
Yeah.
cousins and their
A family
grandma and
unit.
their family. It's like
Yeah.
it's just so symbiotically beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't feel like a bunch of pressure from anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, your mom holds down a lot of pressure,
Yeah.
but she also like begs for it too. She'll call
lo-
me and be like,
I know.
whenever Elof is gone, I'll hear her first get on the phone with Elof and be like, "Hey, just tell
Just so
LJ
you
to bring
know.
the baby."
Yeah, just bring the baby here. It's so funny because when I'm there, she's like, call LJ, like, see if he's okay. And that's why you get random like FaceTimes from me. You're probably like, why is she calling me?
No, when people know I'm with Cece, I get random FaceTimes all the
Yeah.
time.
Oh, okay. That's what, yeah.
I just like
If I know, yeah, like if
just
I know.
I know why people are calling me.
Yeah.
Everyone calls me. I'm like, There she
if
is.
I know you're with her and I know like Elof's not there,
Yeah.
I will call because I'm just like,
My sisters
Yeah.
do the same thing.
Yeah.
They're always just like,
I
but
love
you
it.
also have another strategy where you're like, hey,
Yeah.
mom wants her.
Oh,
Baby
yeah.
wants the baby. Oh, it's probably, is that Tobias?
Oh my gosh. Dude, that scared the shit out of me. Dude, I was like, what is that? Hi.
What's up?
Hey,
You're fine.
come on in.
No, it's
You're
not that type
good.
of podcast.
Yeah.
You park right here. Fuck, I'm over here.
Oh, did you?
Fire hydrant. Fuck everybody.
Oh, dang.
Check it, right?
We'll get you out of there sooner than later.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're actually almost done here.
Yeah, we're almost done if you want
Yeah.
to. Thank you. I had to, step it up for the purple banter 37.
You put
and
makeup on
37.
for Instagram. What are we talking about?
For Instagram? Wow. Okay, InstaFam.
I'm actually fucking with you because
Yeah.
you're willing to just like go live whenever.
Dude,
a lot of people
what
aren't.
time is it? Oh, I do go live. I was gonna say
What time is it right now?
Yeah, isn't it like
10:30, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
No, isn't it? I don't know.
Is it that late? It's got to be, right? Or
I think
not?
it's like 11:30.
Oh my God, it's 12.
It's 12 o'clock, and I'm here
12:15.
filming this podcast. Okay,
Yeah.
because I'm very dedicated, and I know I have to be up early tomorrow.
I love it. Well, I think
Yeah.
it's definitely time to like close it out.
Mhm.
Where can people find you?
Yes.
Is there anything else that you want to tell them about your business,
Mhm.
or anything like that? But then again, honestly, if you want to know more about Noor,
Mhm.
like follow her Instagram.
Yeah.
You're gonna get better understanding of like what you're about,
Yeah.
where your business is going, and then like what you have available.
That would be what I would have to say is just follow me on Instagram if you have any questions. Like even if you like, I follow people back. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, I don't want to have the follower ratio. You gotta follow. No, I don't care. Like if you're a real page, obviously, because I get some random pages.
Yeah.
But if you're like a real page, a real person, like I'll follow you back. We're
Yeah.
friends. Like if you have any real estate questions, let me know. If you just want to chat, let me know too. I'm an open book.
And we got to normalize using Instagram as a business card. I think that, we're still like in a little bit of that space. I think real estate's done a good job of like jumping into it.
Mhm.
But like that is the new professional setting.
It is, yeah.
It's not about a website. It's not about all these other things.
Yeah.
It all is so easily concise, like in this
Mhm.
space.
Yeah.
Why
and
not?
LinkedIn is great too, but it's very like professional because like people are just posting work things. But on Instagram, like you can weave in like your personal life. And, like I got a client through Instagram last year and I sold that $2 million house.
Yeah.
And so it was through Instagram. And I think people need to just use it more and
be comfortable with
share
it.
share what they want, obviously.
Yeah, but also like even when like it's like someone's trying to reach out to you for business, it's just like DM you
Oh yeah.
and say like, hey, like I really like that house, like can I see it on Saturday? Why not? Like it's
Absolutely.
instead of always having to look for numbers and stuff, just use it that way.
Yeah, or even just like, oh, what are the steps? Or I didn't know that. Or if I post about a program, like a loan program, like you can reach out to.
It's awesome.
Instagram is where it's at, and yeah, I just want to help more people become homeowners, and honestly, just help people in general with any knowledge that I know, anything that's helped me. Whether it's mindset, whether it's going through a divorce, whether it's being a single parent, being an entrepreneur, whatever it is.
All counseling services acceptable.
All counseling services. We offer it all. If I have the knowledge and it helped me, I'm going to share it with you, and I hope it helps you. So
I love it. Well, God bless you all.
Thank you.
Over and out.
Thank you.